If you didn't know by now, I love data. And as much as I enjoy collecting data, I also enjoy trying to uncover the unique insights that are there. And by and large, to do that, you have to perform some sort of signal processing. And I've talked about that a lot, either the context of processing analytical data from the mass spec lab, or even processing near IR data. And most recently, in the context of using small, inexpensive commercial sensors that I've placed around my home and thinking about how do we process that data? How do we clean up the baseline as it moves around? And someone reached out to me on LinkedIn, Eric, and it turns out he's as much of a data nerd as I am. And so he sent me these slides here, and the context in this talk he was giving is about temperature correction, mathematical forays into sensor fits and fusion. And he draws a lot of interesting insights. I won't go over them all in this video, but I do want to highlight a couple of things and then demonstrate how easily we can translate some of the equations that are here into simple Python functions and get the same benefits. However, one of the benefits of a talk like this is that you can see very quickly the visual impact of these algorithms on the data presented here. So in his context, he was comparing two different sensor qualities, one sensor that records quickly and one sensor that records much more slowly. And there's even cases where the data quality might differ based on these instruments. However, when you need a rapid duty cycle or higher sampling frequency, sometimes that trade-off is worth it. So there are many cases in the real world where we're trying to capture data under these different regimes. So the goal of this study is to focus on how do we correct the baseline. And as he notes here, this is a technique that is very common in local chemistry. But the key thing I really want to focus on in this slide is that you can see how the baseline changing impacts the signal that we observe. And so you can see the signal here in this darker red color. And along the baseline in pink, you see how the signal begins to ride up. And we need to figure out a way to correct that baseline. Now, it's not as easy as just trying to remove the baseline out, because when you do that, you do create other artifacts in your data, particularly at the edges, or there's cases where you have data that occurs on different frequency regimes. So on the next figure, you can see we have our original raw data here where we have this elevated baseline towards the higher wavelengths. And then if we want to perform some sort of baseline correction, we're then left with the residual. And I like this idea where the residual is the signal minus the baseline. That is the signal that is essentially left over after our corrective measures. Now, there's all sorts of ways to perform baseline correction. Here are some relatively simple ways. We have the moving mean, and all this equation is saying is that if we take some window around our center point, let's say we have our middle point, if we go out 2, 4, or 5 away, we can then average those values together and replace that middle point with that new value. Or we can compute the moving median, in which case we do a similar process where we go out some window length away on either side and then compute the median and replace that centroid value with the median. And then a technique I actually haven't deployed too much is the exponentially weighted moving average, which only uses the current and past data. So this is actually a technique I want to explore more in my own data. And the key feature here is this alpha term here, which will determine the weight of your averaging. And so now I'm going to demonstrate how we can apply these techniques in Python very, very, very easily. So in order to do this, I'm actually going to take some humidity data that I've been collecting in my bathroom. And there are a couple of different reasons why I think this is interesting. One, this is true raw data from a low-cost sensor. Two, we see that we have some peaks that occur relatively slowly. These are shower events here. And then we have some higher frequency signals here. And this is very likely when the air conditioning is turning on and off. Now, I've been collecting for all of March. So when March was cooler, we had our radiators running and we don't see these high frequency signals there. And so it's kind of cool to have this observation in the data. And so we can see the impact of these low and high frequency signals as we apply our corrective measures. So the first technique I want to apply is the moving mean algorithm, and we're going to use a window size of 100. And so what that means is we're going to take our center point and then we're going to go out until we have 100 values that we're going to compute the average of, and then replace that middle point with that average. And to do that in Python, we're going to take our data frame, which is called sensor.Df. We're going to compute some rolling statistics. And in this case, we're going to apply a window size of 100 and then just compute the mean. And just that simply, we have a new array called moving mean. I'm going to first demonstrate what this figure looks like without that new line there. And then in orange, we're going to add our new point. You can see with a moving mean of 100, where you're able to keep most of the larger events here. So this is likely a shower event, maybe another shower event with the door open, maybe one there and there. But in the orange, you see we really start to smooth over the higher frequency signals. Now, if that's important to your algorithm, or if that's important to the insights you're trying to gather, you would want to decrease the window size. And thus we're able to capture more of that higher frequency variance of the data. And with the window size of 10, we're still smoothing out some of the higher frequency ripples in the data, but we're still allowing some of the high frequency, perhaps air conditioning signal there. And as we increase the window size, you see that this begins to average away fairly quickly. And then there are cases where the window size is way too large. Let's say we want 500, and we almost start to completely misrepresent the data. And so there's not necessarily one right number for the window size, but definitely a way that you can tune this and then apply this to the rest of your data set. Or if there's cases where you want to capture that noise and remove that noise, you can, of course, compute multiple arrays with different window sizes. One of the cool things about using Python, and particularly the pandas library, is that we can really easily compute the median. So instead of using a rolling mean, let's compute a rolling median. Let me update this just so if you're tuning in now, you know exactly what I'm doing. And let's change this to median. And let's change our title to median. And so just like that, we're now going to replace this data with the moving median. Now this looks different because now we're computing the median instead of the mean, and we are using a window size of 100. Let me go back to 10 so you can see how this compares. So note with 100, we had the flat top there. With 10, we're getting much closer to that original signal. We do see a little bit of shifting there. That's typical because we're pulling some of those values to the left and to the right. And then let's go to a window size of 500. And you see how we really start to shift here, and we completely leave these peaks there. So the mean and median definitely give you a different residual from our original data, and it really depends on what your goals are for the signal processing as to which technique you might want to apply. In the case of this data, I would much prefer to use the mean. And I should also note that when you're using larger window sizes, you start to see the cutoff in the data. And this is because as you're computing these statistics on these first points, there just aren't enough data points there in order to satisfy the window size. So if I go back down to 50, you can see that the data is there. We are still missing a few points there, but that's usually okay. So next, let's look at the exponentially weighted moving average on our sensor data frame. And I mentioned before, the parameter we'd want to tune is this alpha term that we saw in the PDF file there. And fortunately for us, Pandas has a method called EWMA, in which we can pass in our alpha term there, and then we're going to compute the mean off of that there. And so again, let me show you the original data. There we go. And then let's add our moving average. And we have something that looks really close to the original data. And because of the way it's computing, it's only computing on the left side of our data points. We do lose some of the intensity of these points, as you can see there, but this does closely follow the original data without some of the higher frequency noise. Now, if I decrease the alpha term, instead of 0.1, we go to 0.01, you can see how we start to really smooth over a lot of the other components. We remove some of the higher frequency noise there, but we still keep a lot of the points on the left side of our plots. And so this is another one of those parameters we really want to tune. If I go to something like 0.5, you see we're getting much closer to that original data set. And so these are three different techniques we can use for signal processing, and techniques that I often deploy in order to not necessarily make the data look better, but ensure that I'm interpreting the right aspects of the data. Now, there's always trade-offs with these sorts of techniques, but this is why we want to have as many in our toolkit as possible. And these are linear techniques. There's also higher order signal processing techniques like quadratic fit or other polynomial fits that we can use In previous videos, I've also demonstrated how we can use Savitzky-Golay as well to perform some baseline correction. If you enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments below, or if there's another technique you'd like me to deploy, let me know either here on YouTube or LinkedIn. In any case, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.